right, so we are back again for another episode of Emboldened with Jessica. We're going to be talking about personal rebranding. Ariel, this is on you because you started this.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did not start this. I reposted a little something.
And my sister, who is my influencer, saw it and was like, ooh, this is a brilliant idea. And so here we are.
Okay, so personal rebrand, what does that even mean?
So a personal rebrand is really a way to either reinvent your image. Maybe you want to amplify and take it to the next level. Maybe it's good, but you want it to be great or excellent. So it's a way to better align with the person that you are on the inside so that you're projecting that outward. So it could be growth that you want to accomplish. It could be the ways that you really want to show up in the world. So my sister, the influencer, Kathleen, said that this could be maybe you're wanting to show up as an expert educator, but you don't really look like it. Like maybe you're always looking like a little bit of a mess, like you don't know what you're talking about, or even the way that like when you talk, maybe folks are not taking what it is that you're having to say seriously because maybe you really are not thinking about or planning for how you're going to articulate your vision. And so people are missing it, but you have some amazing pieces, some amazing information you really want to impart, but people are missing it. And so it's a way that you can kind of show up in the world in a confident way. Maybe it's rich auntie is part of the rebrand that you're wanting to have. Maybe it's that you want to be a respected community leader. And so it's a way to show up so that you're really in your fullest potential in all areas that are important to you.
I love any word that has re in front of it, and it makes me think of with us beginning a new year, this rebrand is kind of almost repackaging what has already happened. I hear everybody had a rough 2024, and it's just kind of rebuilding maybe some things that have been knocked down or demolished.
And as you're talking about how 2024 was a rough year, it makes me think about how part of this rebrand might even be what you do in your home. So after the election, a lot of folks were just really feeling defeated. And I heard from lots of people, they're like, you know what? I'm pulling out the Christmas tree. Like, I'm going to go ahead and start decorating for the holidays because it's something that allows me to feel cozy, to feel as my best self. And so this part of your rebrand could also be about noticing what is it that I need in this moment. So I've said for years that my name is my brand. So whenever I worked at a job and they wanted me to do something that was counter to my personal values or to, do things that were just wrong, I refused to do it because I always said my name is my brand. And I look at today and, this podcast is my name. My private practice is my name. And so a lot of times our name is going to enter a space before we physically do. And so when people think of you, what are they thinking of? This is part of what we're going into as we start to think about our personal rebrand. And so, Ariel, you've already kind of started this off with why rebranding matters. It matters for a variety of reasons. One is your brand is how the world is going to remember you. It's part of what they're going to think of when folks are talking about, hey, we have this need at this table. Who do we know that is really outstanding in artistry that could do this graphic or this wall art, this mural that we're needing in the community? So it's how the world remembers you. It's also your permission slip to create the life that you want. Sometimes we need to remember that we don't need other people's permission. And so if this rebrand is a way that we are already creating the permission slip, if you're a rule follower, and some people, they like a rule. And so if you want to follow a rule, let it at least be the rule book you created for yourself.
I feel like also tagging on, I'm thinking more about how people are defined. And I'm thinking of like, how you might have that friend who had a year and they are known as that friend who like just recently broke up. So they are down, they are depressed, they are going through it. And somehow out of nowhere, that became their brand. And this is a good pivotal time to be like, whoa, I don't want that to be my defining characteristic. That should not define me. So this could be a good time to introduce the rebrand and then figure out what does define you.
this is it, right? Like there's so many times we want to do something with other people. I'll go to the gym, but only if I get a friend to go. Or I'll eat this in this healthy way, or I'll start this new thing, but only if someone is going to go with me. A lot of times people aren't going to go with us. And so how do we decide what it is that we want to do despite what others are doing?
Despite, yeah. And I will say, bringing up the word despite, and part of that word is spite. I've heard people doing things like they're running on just out of spite. Like if we're going back to the person who broke up, like I'm doing this to spite them. I am going to shine. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to be my best version of myself in spite of them.
Someone said to me when I went off to college that I was going to fail and return home. And that was so encouraging to me because even though there was a part of me that was like, C's get degrees, there was part of me that was like, I am never going to fail. So even when no one is going to class, I'm taking my black thigh to class. Even when I don't feel like studying, I'm going to do what I need to do because never, ever am I going to fall on my face. So sometimes that spite is some of the fuel we need in the moment. Other reasons why a personal rebrand matters is that we deserve to be at the forefront of innovation, expertise, and style. Let's be honest. We all know someone who is doing a fraction of what it is that we're doing, and they're excelling. And so we're not looking at other people with envy, but that we can be inspired by, like, wow, if they can do it, there's also room for me to do my thing, right? It doesn't have to be the same thing, but there's room for all of us to be successful. And people deserve to hear about the ideas that you have. People deserve to hear about the expertise that you have. And a lot of times we want to be humble. We want to humble ourselves because perhaps that's what we've been taught. And there's humility, right? And then there's also understanding that if I don't speak up and I don't share this really helpful insight that I have, then people can be harmed, depending on kind of work you're doing. People won't be able to thrive or be as great as they could be if I were able to impart this information and have it be received. So we deserve to be at the forefront. Also for joy. Okay, leveling up isn't just about success, it's about living a life that feels exciting and fulfilling. A personal rebrand is not for everyone. You might be a person who is really focused right now on finishing up something else. So maybe you're focused on healing trauma, and so a personal rebrand just does not fit in with what you're trying to do. Maybe you're really working on reconnecting with the spiritual practice you've had in the past. So a personal rebrand isn't for everyone. And so one of the things that I think kind of helps to know where you're at and if you're in a stage where a personal rebrand might be useful is what we as therapists call your stages of change. And so there's kind of 5 main stages that we think of. This theory kind of posits that there is pre-contemplation stage. So this is the stage where they don't actually think that they need to change their behavior, or they don't think that there's a problem of any way. So they may not really need to change. But pre-contemplation, the stages of change normally happen when someone does need to change. So this is kind of like my sister told me I was dressing very shabby. And I was like, I don't got no problem. Okay, I was in pre-contemplation. And then the next stage is contemplation. So this is when you become aware that there's a problem and you want to change. Okay, I started looking at my outfits and I was like, yeah, this isn't exciting. I started to contemplate. Then you go into preparations. So this is when we start gathering information about the problem. I started putting together what I need to do. Then there's action. So this is when you start to move with the information you have. The preparation, as we're talking about a personal brand, would be creating that personal brand. That would be the preparation stage. Action is when you start to follow through on the things that you said you were going to do during that personal rebrand. And then maintenance is all of the kind of things that you do to stay where you need to be, to continue on the work that you said that you were. And then there's termination. We get to a place where we've made the necessary changes that we want to make. And now we're going to elevate to our next challenge, the next thing we want to work on. Us as therapists, we kind of think of it as these 5 stages of change. And this could really happen with anything. So we're talking about this professional rebrand. And there's a couple of things that people do when it's the new year, anyways, in terms of them casting their vision. And so, one thing that's really common are people doing vision boards. The vision boards, you can do it physically, you can do it digitally. So, if you're using an Apple device, there's a freestyle or freeform app that is on there that you can use to create your vision board. If you like Canva, that's another way to do it. Some people like to use Pinterest. So, a digital vision board is an option. A mood board or like a style board where it has the aesthetic of your future self. It has outfits, vibes, that kind of thing. I know some people who have no words on their vision board, but because I'm very goal oriented, I always have the vision, but also the very specific goals. I know when I've met it, I
Okay.
like when it's like too nebulous, like eat breakfast every day or take vitamins. It's like, if I don't take my vitamins for a week, have I now failed?
I feel like I go either way, whether it's just a lot of photos or if they're just words. But I feel like there's just been an evolution of goal setting, vision boarding, whatever it is. And I feel like now we're moving into bingo cards a lot. People
Yes.
have themes for the bingo cards, whether it's for the year, whether it's monthly, quarterly. So there's a lot of things you can do.
I also like these intention boxes, which are, it could be a box that you decorate, or if you're not super crafty, it could be a really cute box that you have. And in it, you write down your intentions for the future. This could be over a year, this could be over 5 years, but you write the sentences as if it's already happening. So if the goal is to one day work for yourself full time, you might write, I work for myself in a business that is very profitable and I don't ever have to worry about paying the bills or paying my employees, something like that. Very specific. If part of the intention is that you want to be able to travel quite a bit with some of your loved ones, you might specifically write, I travel first class. Okay. I travel first class regularly and stay at nice accommodations, whatever it is you need. And again, I don't go into debt to plan these trips, very specific, whatever it is that you're needing. The other cool thing about an intentions box, if you are crafty, is you could use modeling clay to sculpt things that are also items that go into your box. And so each time you look at the box, you know that what's in there is already done. So another way to cast vision outside of doing a personal rebrand.
There's this thing where you write out like your 12 goals that you want for the upcoming year. And you write them on pieces of paper and then you rip those pieces of paper and then you put them like in a jar. And every night you just pull one out of the jar. You don't look at it. You don't actually know which goal it is. And then you burn it.
Oh,
I've seen some where they say you can just rip it up and throw it in the garbage. But you actually don't know which one you've had. So then on the New Year's Day, if you're doing this leading up to the new year, the goal that you wrote down that's left after all those days, that is the one that you are really supposed to focus on.
uh,
It's also just another goal setting thing because the ones that you kind of burned away are just manifesting in a different way, but this one is one that you're supposed to really focus on.
I love
So,
that. Yeah, because sometimes, especially for us folks that are neurodiverse,
mhm.
we can get a little overwhelmed with all of the things we want to work on. And then um, we start to feel like we're not making progress towards any of the goals. We're
Mm.
overwhelmed, and so we just stop. So I like this as a way to kind of focus our energy in. So, because of your influence, my sister wanted a rebrand party, personal rebrand party, and didn't want to host it. So, I am now hosting a personal rebrand party.
Very
Mhm.
nice.
So, this is another way that you can bring your community into this fun, exciting thing you might be doing. And so, even though I'm shaming my sister, I am rather excited for it. There's going to be an invitation for people to wear their cozy, fun outfits, to get them a nice, delicious beverage if they want to, alcoholic or non alcoholic. It's their world. We're just living in it. Okay, we want this to be a fun experience. And in the party, you could do this in person. I'm going to be doing mine virtual because I have some loved ones that live in different states. And you could use Zoom, whatever platform you like a Google Jamboard, if you are doing like the vision board party. But For this personal rebrand, we're going to be doing it online. And it's an opportunity to really have your friends reflect on areas of success that they've already hit and some of the things that are important to them. We're going to talk about ways we want to define our brand vibe. We're going to do some games, and at the end, there's going to be a awards ceremony. It's going to be fabulous. When you're thinking about this professional rebrand or personal rebrand, I really want you to be thinking about having large, audacious goals and ways to celebrate when you accomplish some of the things that you want to accomplish.
What is an audacious goal?
So, an audacious goal could be something that it's hard for you to foresee or visualize yourself doing in the next 3 months, but something that you really want to do. Sometimes there's this yearning that we have for something big, and we don't even want to speak about it because we feel like it's too big or it's gonna somehow mean it's not gonna happen. So, an audacious goal could be, I want to retire early. Okay, I just can't be working until 60s. That's not for me. So my audacious goal could be that I work for myself fully by the time I'm 50 years old. Or maybe the audacious goal is that I retire early, like a fire kind of plan. I retire by 50. So it may be something that seems a little bit large, but then you start to break down, what do I need to do to make that happen? And one incredible tool is ChatGPT. You can put in there, ChatGPT, I make this much a year. This is what I want to retire on. How can I retire by the age of 50? This is how old I am. And this is what I'm willing to do to make this kind of money. And ChatGPT will help figure out the plan for you. I want to invite listeners just for us to not just talk about this, but to allow ourselves to have a somatic practice of this. So if you are driving, please do not close your eyes and perhaps come back to this part and you can do it in the future. But I want to invite you to close your eyes or keep them open, whatever feels most supportive for you. And the invitation is to do a little self touch if that feels supportive. So for me, when I'm listening into myself, a hand over my heart center helps me to be in the present moment. It could be that your hand feels more supportive on your other hand or maybe on a leg. So honoring what your body needs in this moment and inviting yourself to take maybe a long belly breath, 2 or 3 of them, to kind of ground and drop down into your body. And as you are allowing yourself to feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit heavier if you're standing on your feet, to sink into the chair you might be sitting in or the couch or the bed you may be laying in, allowing yourself to cast your vision for the future. This could be a year out, this could be 5 years out. I want you to visualize where you live. Do you live in a large city? Do you live in a small town? Are you in a suburb? I want you to visualize what you would be doing on a Saturday where you don't have to work and you can be doing whatever you want. You can be with whomever you want. What do you see? I want you to feel into being aware of a lack of stress, a lack of worry, a lack of the need to rush. But this is just your Saturday to enjoy. And visualizing and noticing in your body what comes up. And if you could, notice what is happening in your body right now. Are you noticing tension near your ears? Are you furrowing your brows? Or are you noticing a lack of tension? Whatever is coming up in your body, if you are able, allow that to be. And we just want to take a little bit of time. You might even want to pause this to allow yourself to just really experience what comes up. And then when you're ready, I invite you to breathe in through our belly, not through our chest. Belly helps us to activate that parasympathetic nervous system that tells us to calm and relax. And after we've taken those breaths, when you're ready, if your eyes have been closed, I invite you to open them. If they've been open, I invite you to just look around your space. And if you feel like it, journaling about what comes up as you think about this future self. And it could just be emotions that come up. It could be what you saw when you were visualizing. It could be how you're feeling in this present moment. Maybe you feel a little bit more relaxed than you did 5 minutes ago. And so using this reflection, this time, this space, to think into what you want in your future, whether that is a personal rebrand, whether that is a vision board, an intentions box, allowing this practice to help center what it is you're striving for in your future. Let me know how that sat with you all. And that leads us into our Cozy Book Nook. The Cozy Book Nook recommendation for this episode is More Than Enough, Claiming Space for Who You Are by Elaine Wilteroff. Amazing, amazing book. I highly recommend. She really talks about the importance of finding and cultivating community, which you know is something I believe in very strongly. Also, the impact of mentors that can help to push you and help you to dream big. We talked a little bit about why sometimes we don't want to tell people our plans for the future, but sometimes in telling people our plans for the future, they have a way to make things happen for us or can connect us with things that are going to allow that future self to happen. So really listening to your own intuition, if it's something to share, if it's not something to share. And then the book also really emphasizes how to claim your space, especially when you're in an environment that tries to minimize your voice. And so what does it mean to be enough? That we're bringing our enoughness to every space that we enter. And sometimes we don't feel that way. Sometimes we feel like we're not enough. And so this book, highly recommend, More Than Enough. And then that brings us into our listener challenge. So if you decide to host your personal rebrand party, share your photos, your insights, your manifesto on social media and tag the podcast. You could use a hashtag like Emboldened with Jessica or Emboldened Rebrand. We want to celebrate with you. Are you enjoying the show? I have a feeling that's an overwhelming yes. We can use your support to keep this space growing and thriving. Here's how you can help. Share this episode with a loved one who you know is going to enjoy it. Sharing helps spread the word and brings more amazing people into our beautiful community. If you haven't already, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Your reviews help others find the show and lets them know this is a space worth tuning into. If you can't support the podcast financially, consider donating through DonorBox. Every contribution helps cover the cost of producing the show and keeps the episodes commercial-free. You can find the link to donate in the show notes. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us. Your ongoing support, your feedback, your encouragement, it means the world. We couldn't do this without you. Until next time, stay emboldened.